Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drag Race TV LA's weekly recap of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 6. We have got a double header for you tonight. We will be recapping episode 7 and 8. So if you like to talk Drag Race, you've come to the right place. Hello, hello, hello. It's Mark J. Freeman with Jacque Borosski today.
Hey guys.
Be sure you guys subscribe to the channel that way down in that corner. If you haven't yet, subscribe. We want the viewers. Come on. Do it for us. We'll be recapping both episode 7 and 8 since I was too sick to join everybody last Sunday, so I apologize, but she's back at it. Not fully because Lorraine's not here, but at least I'm Jacque, overall thoughts of episode 7 and 8? Well, so we'll do 7 first. We'll do them separately.
7, I think, was probably one of my least favorite episodes of Drag Race ever. I just think the song was not a bop. I did like some of the banter that was going on in the training session or in the rehearsal. I always like that. You guys know that. But the song itself to me wasn't that interesting. And I understand wanting to do a song with lyrics that have some sort of meaning, but I feel like so many people in the group didn't actually do that. You know, maybe I feel like Trinity and Raja did that, and Eureka and Ginger, and then everybody else kind of like missed the mark to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I couldn't even understand what they were saying because it was going so fast. Mm-hmm. So I'm just glad that actually we're doing this as a twofer because I was just really not happy about this episode.
I said the same thing. I was thinking about it as I was writing the outlines. I was like, even the Untucked to me were actually, I thought both episodes were kind of like, meh.
Well, I'm also waiting for the game within the game, you know. Right. I think we're used to All Stars being shorter. Mm-hmm. And so we're used to those queens coming back in whatever capacity they're coming back because we know they're coming back. Mm-hmm. And so now it's just become kind of a running joke where we're like, we know they're coming back. Why are we waiting so long?
Yeah. I know. I was thinking that too. I was like, I saw somebody post a meme and it was like, I might have sent it to you guys. It was like Serena Cha Cha 2 months after being eliminated and still not back, still sitting in isolation. And it's like, it's true. It's like,
so you guys true.
You're not even thinking about the fact that you've made this person now sit in this room untouched. Like she's not on the playing on her phone, messaging friends, talking to family, at least having something to do. She is literally trapped.
This is really isolation because it's not just like a normal season where, okay, maybe you would have, I'm not saying fully free reign, like leave the hotel or the set or whatever, but you would probably have more of an ability to go and chat with someone, go and eat with someone. Here it's like the quarantine rules on sets are so strict for these people who are participating that you really are stuck in your room. So it's like Serena Cha Cha literally stuck in her room.
Yeah. It's I agree. I think it should. I don't mind the game within the game, assuming that it's not just rock paper scissors. I feel like it's dragged on too long. Like it should have happened an episode or two ago. Like I don't know. Like I'm just like, really, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Ken in the chat says he didn't watch episode 7. Hello Kitty called episode 7 suspect.
Yeah.
It seems like most people didn't really enjoy it, except Magenta Fox liked it because my poor girl Jan was eliminated.
I'm going to agree with Magenta on that one. I was like, oh, at least I don't have to hear her anymore. As a reminder, because it's been a while, just where we left off before episode 7, what was episode 6 was the overacting in the miniseries Rumerican Story Coven Girl and the Oh My Goth runway. Ginger and Kylie were the winners of the week. Well, Kylie ended up taking the top All-Star of the week, but Kylie and Ginger were the best. And then after lip syncing against Manila, Kylie ended up sending home Akira. So that's where we were when we last we all spoke. So then after that, after voting Akira, it was a slam dunk. Everybody had voted for Akira. Like, there were only one, I think, who didn't vote for Akira was Akira. And Kylie even said to Raja, there was no way I was going to pull your lipstick. Like, there was just no way against.
Well, Raja had been doing better, I think, this whole competition. So I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agreed 1,000%. She said, Ginger also said, I just wanted to bring this up just because we all kind of agreed that maybe Kylie didn't quite really deserve the win for the Rumerican Horror Story. But Ginger points out, she said that, she proved herself and she deserves to be here, I think that's Ginger probably playing nice. I don't know that I believed her when she said that. I felt like there was a little tongue in cheek there, but that's my opinion.
What's funny is, like, when we get to episode 8, I thought episode 8, that was like my Kylie moment. Dolly's a hard one to do. And so although I did think Ginger did amazing, I think, Kylie really deserved to be in the top there. So.
Yeah, I think that, again, this is the problem with production, is they worry that Kylie's not going to do well, which in theory she wouldn't do well in a comedy. She went home on Snatch Game. So yes. I understand in their heads, they're thinking, oh, well, she's not going to do good. We should give this to her now so she has a win because of this, that. I guess it's the price we pay for, allowing the show to be so produced. And then Jan also points out after the elimination that there are 5 people with wins and 2 people with none. I think that was kind of Jan's way of kind of little rubbing salt in the wounds for Pandora and Eureka, who did not have a win. Also, too, I think she was trying to kind of play herself up because she was in the bottom. I think she wanted to point out the fact that she, even though she was in the bottom, she doesn't have the worst, record.
Sometimes they have these, they have these moments, whether it's in Untucked or, right after the panel critiques, where they'll get into a room and they'll be like, who do you feel is this? Or what do you feel is that? Or whatever. And I think I don't try to read too much into those, because I think some of those, like each of these, so just so you guys know, each of these guys is working, they're probably have like a couple queens assigned to one producer, like a story producer.
Right.
And so the story producer will be like making suggestions, like, what do you think about this? Maybe you could ask this, So I try not to read too much into that, because I know that those moments when they're sitting together and they're like, who do you think is going home today? I know they're a little bit scripted in the sense that these are suggested conversations. So I try not to count them as too much, read too much into it, because I feel like, yes, obviously, like a queen can say, no, I don't want to say that. But I do think they say, like, have you noticed that so-and-so hasn't gotten any wins yet? Oh, well, I did notice that. Maybe you can mention it,
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's a good point. It's definitely a good point. I don't know. it being Jan, I question whether it was a producer or her, but that's just me. Sorry, I forgot to grab water. So for the Maxi Challenge for episode 7, Ru says, as LGBTQ Americans, if we want things to change, it's up to us to show up and make it happen. When the going gets tough, we can always count on drag queens. So the queens needed to use their charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to write and perform a new uplifting drag anthem called Show Up Queen. Lyrics that entertain, inspire, and teach the children just what you stand for. They recorded.
I can't even remember how this song goes. That's how bored I was.
Show up, queen. I can hear it in my head. I'm curious if it's going to end up on Tez's playlist. That's all I kept thinking. I wonder if this is going to end up on Tez's playlist. We'll have to find out next week. So then, as teams, they were in charge of choreographer, and Kylie, because she won, and Raja, because she made it through elimination, were the team captains. Raja chose Jan, Trinity, and Pandora. Well, she didn't choose Pandora. She was given Pandora. And Kylie chose Ginger and Eureka. As Eureka says, it's a heavy team. Were you, when you found out that it was going to be kind of semi-team-ish challenge, what did you think of the teams?
For me, what's funny is I had the same thought that Raja did, where Jan is a singer. Jan tends to do well in these types of like sing-songy, peppy, like rah-rah performances. I do think where she fell out on this one was the lyrics, to me, didn't have a greater message, but I think you could say that for several people. So I thought that with that, and with Pandora, who, they mentioned she did so well in the variety challenge where she was, her like, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I know some of you can't hear it on a podcast, but her little like fun variety performance, I was thinking she would do well. So I thought that was a pretty strong team, but then again, Ginger and Eureka, are great performers too. So it's not really so much about how strong your singing voice is, but it's how much you're able to like keep up that energy and really entertain people.
Exactly. I mean, looking at the teams, I probably would have picked who Kylie picked. I think I would have picked Ginger and Eureka, just because I feel like they're both really good at performing and especially if there wasn't a possibility that they could be judged as a team, which they obviously didn't end up getting judged as a team. But I was kind of like, I didn't have, I will point out too, I felt like Rude came through the workroom and she talked to the groups. Did you feel like, I felt like Rude was almost begging Eureka to do well? Because she really kind of laid into Eureka. Like, I mean, she joked about the fisting thing, but then she said, you have so much that you can do. You have so much that you could write about. Blah, blah, blah. I just felt like it was Rue kind of like going, come on, girl, I need you to, did you get that
feel
sense?
Like Rue would like for every queen on All Stars to go away with a win if that can happen. That seems to be like the narrative here. So the more that they can pump up the energy of anyone who doesn't have a win yet, I think I would say, that's like what they're trying to do. Yeah.
Another thing, I just thought this would be a fun question to ask everybody, but it's just you and me, so it'll just be us giving our answers, Jackie. But Rue asked them, now I question her phrasing, I just don't know exactly what this means, but she asked the group what was the first song they ever bought. So I don't know if that means the first, I guess it depending on how old you are.
Yeah, it depends on how old you are.
We didn't used to get to buy a song. You had to buy the album.
Right, you had to buy the album.
I'm going to go with album. Jackie, what was the first album you bought? Or cassette? I guess it would probably be cassette for us.
When cassettes came out, I was still too young to purchase anything on my own.
Right.
So like I had been given gifts of cassettes from my parents, but I didn't count that because this sounded like a situation where it's like you go out and bought that.
Yeah.
So I became a teenager right as CDs became a thing. So the first CD and therefore album I bought was the Spice Girls one. And so, it was so funny because I was like watching this thinking, Jan's going to say Spice Girls. And that's the same album that was my first album. And she did. Funny. And I was like, oh my God.
Well, I remember, I mean, I bought cassettes for sure. I was a huge Madonna fan. So I'm sure if I was going by cassettes, I couldn't tell you what first cassette I bought. And we could buy cassette singles. So I know I bought tons of those. I still have a whole bunch in a box in my closet. But I will say this, as you were saying, CDs kind of became the thing I was like in college by then. I will say this, I bought my first CD not even owning a CD player, because I had high hopes of eventually getting a CD player. And I will say my first CD that I ever bought without a CD player was Madonna Erotica. Was the first CD I ever bought. So, Chucky Chuck! That's so funny. That's something that popped up just as I said it.
Wild.
You guys in the chat, everybody write what your first, I don't know, CD that you ever bought. That's probably that makes the most sense for most of us. I guess now you can buy a song on iTunes. So. Just curious.
I wonder what the kids these days, like, do they buy albums? I don't know. Do they just listen to them on Spotify?
I'm guessing, which is sad because sometimes there's so many great songs on CDs that never get released, and it's just, you just miss that whole experience. But
yeah, you miss the experience of listening to the filler songs in the album.
Exactly. Solange is C. O'Connor's with Solange. That's fantastic. I love that. Also too, I thought it was great that Ru kind of, I mean, she didn't lay into TKB, but she told her, don't make your lyrics so preachy, make it, which I think was a great comment. I think hers was sounding a little preachy, so I'm glad that she said that.
Nouveau Cos had No Doubt Tragic Kingdom. That's a good album.
Yes, another good one.
I had that one, but it wasn't the first one.
Yeah. Filler songs like the filler episode of Drag Race. Exactly. Oh, Chucky Chuck, we can always count on you.
Well, try to make this more interesting than the actual episode.
I know. That's why I was like, well, I'll still ask the question.
I was like, maybe I can do laundry while I'm watching this or something.
Magenta's first was Madonna's Immaculate Collection.
Oh, that's a good one.
It was like her greatest hits. Her first greatest hits was the Immaculate Collection. And then Rescue Me. I think Rescue Me was also added to the Immaculate Collection. So my Madonna knowledge is starting to come forth. Jackie, your thoughts on Rehearsal?
I liked Rehearsal because, I like seeing queens maybe struggle and overcome that. So we had this one, did we have a music rehearsal too? I can't even remember.
Yeah, they sang with Leland.
Oh yeah, they did. They sang with Leland, and then Ginger was hitting on one of them. Yeah.
The other guy's name who I can't remember.
Yeah. And then the one that really stuck with me though was the choreo, because Pandora was struggling with the choreography, and I can't remember who made a comment, maybe it was Ginger or somebody, but then Trinity was the choreography leader, which I think is smart. It's good to have a choreography leader, because then we see at the other group what ends up is like everybody's trying to make like hodgepodge soup. Yeah. So Trinity then goes back and tries to reorchestrate everything so that Pandora feels comfortable, which I think that's a smart thing in a group challenge, because you never know on Drag Race if you're going to be judged as a group or not. So it's better to always try and get the group to look really strong than to just be like, oh, let's leave this person floundering out there,
Right. Do you think, Chucky Chuck's asking Jackie, do you think that the rehearsals are dick in the soup now?
I don't really think so, in the sense that the queens have a lot of, if there's no like guest star, like guest choreographer or guest like singer there, the queens have a lot of autonomy when they're choreographing their own stuff or doing their own rehearsals. So I do like to see that, but I do know, as I mentioned before, it's like we don't know in what instances a story producer is going to say, hey, look, they're not doing so well. Maybe you could help them out or something like that, you know? But I think there's, especially if you have someone like Michelle or Ross or in some of these rehearsal like acting challenges, that's a little bit more dick in the soup to me, because they have more, they like know the show so well, they know the production so well, and they're more able to like orchestrate things and know when something can be a moment for the whole story. Right. So in these rehearsals, I don't think so as much. I would say.
Yeah, that for sure. Another thing I thought of, do you think it would have mattered which team Pandora was on? Do you think she benefited from being on Trinity's team?
I think she was getting into her head. So I don't know if at this point it was like you can tell that she had been just feeling uncomfortable that she hadn't had a win, and that she generally does not seem to feel comfortable dancing. So I think it was one of those moments where like, no matter what team she was on, she was just going to be the person getting in her own way. Right. I think.
Yeah. See, that's what I kept thinking too. That's why I asked, because as I thought about it, I was like, well, I don't know that it would have mattered what team she was on. I mean, I'm not trying to put down Pandora by any means, but I mean, it's definitely not her forte. So I don't know that it really would have behooved her to be on a different team. Like, I think it was, you know, it was just kind of inevitable that she was going to end up in the bottom.
Well, you can hear a lot from these episodes with Untucked and everything. She really is voicing these inner doubts that she has. She's saying like, I don't know what kind of jokes I can make. And like, I have this, like, she's saying that she essentially has like an inner saboteur. So I think that, that was something that was really weighing on her.
Well, I mean, I'm not in their position because I'm not a celebrity, but you know, as somebody who does stand-up comedy and loves going to comedy shows, I will always love the person who says the thing that probably shouldn't be said. To me, that is some of the funniest comedy. I think it was Kylie that says it. You know, it's the generation now is just very like super protective and super like cautious, and like they're afraid to say anything and stuff. And it's sad, because it's like, that's to me some of the funniest stuff. So I don't like, you know, I think it was also to Eureka. I think it's episode 8. She points it out, but, you know, she talks about how she wanted to do Divine because she wants because she feels like of the younger generation don't get, which Eureka's young too. So I don't know necessarily what she's referring to, but I understood what she meant. Like, I wanted to do Divine so that people would go, oh, who is Divine? They might look into this, then they'll understand more of why I do the kind of drag that I do. Because I feel like now, and I say this all the time, you go to a drag show now and what do you see? Girl, they're all in leotards. They're all doing Lady Gaga. They're all doing death drops. They're all doing the same thing, the same makeup, same wigs, because that's what they're used to seeing. And I do think that some of the older queens who get bad raps, I just feel like, you know, we've been around longer. We've seen more a diversity of drag that, you know, that's one of the things I like. I really try to do with Lorayne. Is like, I love a good campy number. I love to put on, you know, a mod little go-go boots type outfit, but I also want to go out sometimes and look fierce. You know what I mean? Where I don't necessarily look like the campy queen that I am. So I personally like to mix things up. I feel like I'm mixing it up. Whether other people have that opinion, I don't know. I just feel like it's. I get what she was doing. I get it. I understand what she's doing, and I understand that they get in their heads and stuff because of how drag is now. It's so out there, and especially if you've been on the show, like you're going to be put under a fine-tooth comb.
There's a lot more exposure these days because when you and I were younger, drag was a lot of like found art, you know. I remember Kenny, if there might be people who remember, Kenny was a host on this show. He wanted to do Foxy Brown in drag for Halloween. And we had such a hard time finding the right shoes in his size. And we ended up going to a Halloween store in West Hollywood. But now it's like, it's so much easier to find those things. Whereas before it was like, oh, you just, you know, even if the shoe might not have been right, it was what we could find and we put it all together and you put a lot of like love into it.
Yep.
Whereas now there's so much more scrutiny because the internet is like a huge part of drag now. And then it's so much easier to like find and buy clothing for drag queens.
I say, like, doesn't it make sense? Like if you have to go, like, you don't have the internet. Like, you can't just jump on and go black dress size 16. You know what I mean? Like, I had to get in my car, go to malls, go into women's sections, look through clothes, potentially try on women's clothing in the store. I didn't do that a lot because I kind of knew my size. I knew how to buy for myself, or I would just return it and exchange it for a different size if it didn't fit. But I knew lots of drag queens who were always trying shit on in the store, and I used to always say, "Oh, girl, I always just take it home and try it on, and then I'll go and return it if I have to." But there's something to be said about having to just do the legwork. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it makes you, I don't know.
You find your style that way too. I know,
I agree.
like a lot of drag queens who I know will go to thrift stores, you know, and just kind of like dig through there. And then that's where the sewing element comes in because you might find something that's kind of right, but then you got to make sure it fix it to make sure it works for you.
Absolutely. So I don't know how we got on this tangent.
But, yeah, sorry guys, but yeah, if you ever get the chance to, like, if you're into drag and you ever get the chance to like go out and find stuff on your own, I think that's a fun element.
Way more fun. I get it. I get that it can be intimidating. It's not for everybody. You know, I have to say, like, I'm a very, you know, outgoing person, so it doesn't bother me to go walk through, you know, and have the girl come up and say, "You shopping for a gift?" No. It's for me, girl. It's for me.
And I guess it does depend on where you live, because like we live like right outside of DC, so it's like major metropolitan city.
Yeah. Chucky Chuck, I think you should definitely try drag. I think everybody should once in their life. Magenta says thrift store divas unite.
Yes.
And I will say this too. I just, as you were saying, Jackie, like where you live makes a big difference. I'm not recommending somebody who may be in a part of the country that it's not safe to do
if you
the
don't
things
feel
that
safe,
like I am not asking you to do that by any means. Definitely use the internet. But yeah. Anyway. So I'm just curious because record has been brought up a lot on the show. You know, this episode in particular, episode 7, puts a particular person ahead in the competition because everybody had one win. This they knew was going to give, unless Eureka or Pandora won, somebody was going to become the front runner. So they talked a lot about record. Would you say, because it was Ginger brought this up, does Ginger get points for winning the reading challenge?
No, because I don't even remember that she did that, because this All-Stars episode, this All-Stars season is like 40 years long.
It was episode 1. She won the reading challenge. I don't know. There's a part of me, like, I get what she was saying. I mean, I get she was doing it just to kind of like stir things up. But then I started thinking about it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I think she should get credit for that, because that's kind of a big deal.
That's a hard one. It's a big one.
And it's a hard thing to do well. So after it was all said and done, I was like, yeah, I think she should get a point or half a point even. You know what I mean? Like, I think it should count for something that she won that. So just curious. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. What do you guys think about that? All right. So the runway theme was
I love this runway. It's so up my alley. So much fun. Hot Tropics. Love.
Yeah,
love it.
I was actually kind of excited when I heard the theme. Zaldi, who does Rue's gowns, was there.
It looked amazing. Rue's gown was amazing.
I have a photo. And Michelle and Carson, here, let me grab Rue's since you brought it up. This, I think this might have been my favorite of the season of hers. Absolutely love this gown. Here we go. Oh, wow. That does not look good.
It's a little stretched out. We made Rue look a little bit.
Let me see if I do it again.
Wide.
Be better. Oh, that's so weird. Because it doesn't look like that on my on your
computer.
My little pin, like this, the thumbnail doesn't look like it. So, but you get the idea. Yeah, I loved her look. I thought she looked fantastic. All right, so first up is Jan. Let me grab Jan's runway. Hopefully these all don't do this. I'll be kind of annoyed if they do.
Jan's gave me a Jennifer Coolidge kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
I actually, even though I rolled my eyes when I said it, I think it was my favorite runway of hers all season. It didn't look overdone. It looked like it fit the theme and stuff. Again, I still don't get who Jan is really, but I liked it. Overall, I thought it was a good look. All right. Next up, and if you want to discuss anything about their performances too, as we're doing their runways, you can do that too, Jackie.
Pandora had the 1940s dress, which I thought was really cute. I like she's been going with this theme of, because she's a little bit older, than some of these queens. She's been going with this kind of like vintage queen style that sometimes can be hit or miss. Like she's done it really well in some instances and not so well in others. But this one I really loved. I thought like this was perfect for the challenge. I was getting like, I just came back from my World War II vacation or something.
Yeah. I agree. I thought Pandora looked amazing. I really did. I actually liked hers a lot. I don't think it was my favorite of the week, but I think she nailed it. Raja O'Hara.
Raja, I was disappointed because I felt like this was meh for Raja.
Yeah.
Like, and then it didn't help that I felt like all of the other queens were stronger in their looks. I don't know. This kind of just felt lazy compared to all of the other things that she's done this season.
Yeah. I felt like she needed to like have like some sort of duster on, a long, just something like, just something like that you would wear from the chair to go get your daiquiri if you wanted. You know what I mean?
Or even carrying like a prop, like carrying like a little daiquiri or something like that.
It just needed something to kind of elevate it just a little bit more.
Yes.
All right. Trinity K. Bonet.
This was amazing. I pooped myself. I fell on the floor. I was so gagged. It was incredible. This is like, who said that it was like your top all-star look? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Rue said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I hear Hot Tropics, that's not what came to my mind. I'm not saying it's not a great look. It's a great look. I'm not going to lie. To me, wasn't what, like the other ones were just like, when Jan came out, that's what I had in my head for Hot Tropics. When Ginger came out, that's what I had. This, I had a hard time kind of going, okay, I get it. Gorgeous, just not. I don't know. I just wanted.
Because I feel like she took Hot Tropics international. It's a kind of like a Brazilian samba look.
I get that. I think I don't know. I wanted something else.
I like these like incredibly like amazing, elaborate outfits. So that was, somebody said Trinity was giving me Cher vibes. It definitely reminded me of something you would see Cher wear in a show. So
yeah. Next up is Eureka.
I thought this was fun. I love that the outfit was a beach ball because we know Chucky Chuck mentioned this. It's like Michelle hates it when people come out in just a bikini. So I like that the bikini was like themed to the theme.
Yeah.
Or not the bikini, the bathing suit.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this. I'm gonna kind of agree with Carson because I do feel like she missed an opportunity because if she had beach ball earrings and a beach ball ring, I understood the hair, but it really, you could tell that she took this wig from a different look and tried to force it into this look. Like, I wanted the wig to be the color. Like, I wanted the stripes in the hair to match the bathing suit, not be different colors.
Right.
It just needed a little tweaking.
Right.
And I agreed with Carson. Like, I think the jewelry could have elevated it and made it like a real showstopper. You know, at least she had a beach ball too.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, Chucky Chuck. Michelle had a problem with Eureka, but not Raja. And I was purposefully paying attention to because I say this all the time. You know, they commented on how shiny and beautiful Raja's midriff was. You know, granted, Eureka's not showing her midriff because she can't, but it was like, again, are we complimenting her tiny, perfect little body, or are we actually complimenting the
outfit?
Yeah. You know, and that's where I have the issue because I actually thought Eureka did it better. All right. Next up is the Minge.
I don't understand. Like, people seem to hate this Ginger outfit. I liked it. I thought, you know, I'm never too much of a fan of Ginger's outfits, but for me, this is one of the best she's looked. So I didn't understand why people didn't like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Hello Kitty saying too, she finds that the judging this season is a little confusing.
Yeah.
I would agree. I agree, though. I thought Ginger, I thought it was one of her best looks. And I think it's Chucky Chuck. I wanted to make sure I pointed out she was not wearing boots. So just kudos to her for that. So I think it's Chucky Chuck that has issues with her boots.
Because she's always wearing boots.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I thought she looked absolutely stunning. And then last but certainly not least is Miss Kylie Sonique Love.
Oh, I loved this. So she has a bathing suit, but it's like a showgirl kind of bathing suit with a fan on the bottom and then some feathers on the top. I thought this was really gorgeous. This to me is because Kylie likes showing her body, and she should. She has a really nice body. But to me, this blended it had that perfect balance of making a show-stopping outfit with showing off your body and not being lazy about it. You know, she had that other outfit that was like a cat suit, like with just like looked like duct tape. And I was like, this is not an outfit. Yeah. But this one I really loved. I thought, okay, girl, you can show off your beautiful butt. You know, you look gorgeous, but you have a really like cute bathing suit that is elaborate.
Yeah. Yeah. When she mentioned Sasha Colby, who's her roommate, as soon as she said Sasha's name, I was like, oh, I bet you this is Sasha's outfit because it gives me total Sasha Colby. If you know Sasha Colby, it's very Sasha Colby. And Michelle liked the green hair, which was kind of a moment on Drag Race.
I know. I don't understand why she doesn't look like green. I don't get it.
I get it. Like, I'm not a huge green fan either. But the fact that she's made it into such an ordeal is kind of like, I don't always love green, but when it's done well, I just actually bought a green dress. I actually was going to wear it if I did drag today, so I'll do it next week. And I actually love it. It's like one of my favorite dresses now that I have. All right, so with the challenge on the runway, the tops were Trinity, Raja, and Eureka was probably also, I guess, considered top. Kylie, Ginger were more on the safe end of things. I ended up being safe. Jan and Pandora ended up being in the bottom. I mean, overall with the performance, I really did like Ginger's lyrics as well. I thought Ginger had really good lyrics. I think her look is kind of what her performance
yeah,
look,
it was
runway.
It was that jacket that kind of cut her off
she was
in the
kind
middle.
of cut in half. You'd think by now, and for being as short as she is, I mean, her entire life, she would know these things. So
right.
I was kind of surprised that she did that, but whatever. Maybe somebody in production zipped it up before she went out just to mess with her.
And the other thing is their outfits kind of, each team had, to me, it was like a Gem and the Misfits kind of vibe. They had these like matching kind of outfits. So I do feel like production is styling them to some extent.
Right.
So that's why I found it a little bit rough when they're getting on these queens for these outfits. Because I'm like, how much of this is their own styling though?
Agreed. And that doesn't bother me as much. Obviously you want them always to look amazing, but I'm going to let that kind of stuff go. Like that's not going to bother me. Trinity ended up being the winner. So that ended up making her now the front runner. Do you think Trinity deserved the win?
I think she did. I mean, hers was the only one hers and Eureka's to me were the only ones where I was like, these are memorable and they fit the challenge.
Yeah.
So agreed. I felt like it was either of theirs to win this episode. Yeah. But I think that Trinity being a dancer helped her get that little edge over because she is a lot of fun to watch when she's dancing.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually really like Raja's performance. I actually really enjoyed her because it started Jan, Pandora, and then Raja. And the first two were so kind of like, really, we're starting the show with these two. I really like Raja too. Yeah. So our lip sync assassin was Miss Alexis Mateo from season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race. They did a lip sync song, Dance Again, J-Lo featuring Pitbull.
I just loved it. I love that song.
I love that song. That's
I know.
probably my all-time favorite J-Lo
Such
song.
a fun song. And it was such a... Do you think the only reason that Trinity lost that was because her wig fell off? Yeah. Because I was like, this is a winning performance if her wig didn't fall off.
Yeah, I think it's her reason she lost, and I think it's the reason Heidi
lost. Yeah,
because of hers just kind of bobbled and came off unexpectedly. So, I absolutely think so. I mean, she should have known better. Personally, a part of me didn't feel bad because I was like, girl, come on, like
pin your hair to your head.
Or don't swing your hair. Like you can still perform. I rarely ever pin my wigs in because I don't do any of that stuff. I don't throw myself on the floor. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily need to pin it. But if I knew I was going to, I'd pin it. So then we did have, I guess, a kind of a twist in that because Alexis won, she revealed the lipstick of Pandora, but then said, wait, I have another. And she had Jan's lipstick as well and said there was a tie. So because there was a tie, All Stars rules states that the decision now goes back to the top All Star of the week, which ended up being Trinity. So
were these rules that we've heard about before? Because I feel like Ru is just like pulling All Star rules out of her butt. She's like, I think this would be a great rule. I'm like, where did this rule come from?
Yeah. Well, they even talked about it earlier in the season. They said, well, what would happen if there was a tie? Would they have to lip sync against each other? Blah, blah, blah. So they actually discussed it on the show. And then when this came up and they said, oh, well, duh, of course. So Trinity decided to eliminate Jan, which kind of was a little bit of a shocker for Jan only. But Jan thinks that, well, let me ask you, Jackie, because you love Jan so much. Do you think she was eliminated because she was a threat like Manila Luzon?
No, I mean, I love Jan, but I think I think they were trying to weigh the track record of Pandora being like in the middle and then getting some high marks, but never the top. And then Jan having an actual win, but then being in the bottom a couple times.
Yeah.
So I think that decision, it becomes this like, how do we locate the track record in there? You know, how do we say which track record is better?
Yeah. So a question, what did I say that was shady? Oh, I guess just asking you that question. I guess I'm being shady. Check saying I'm shady. I was curious. So say this was a regular season and the queens weren't voting the person out and it was between Pandora and Jan, do you think production would have went with Jan? Or do you think production would have went with Pandora?
I don't know. I don't know, because I do feel like a win should mean something, you know? And then Jan while Pandora has been in the top, but never in the bottom until this point, I do feel like a win should mean something. And Jan had been in like the top of certain challenges before too.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, you know, someone mentioned it in here, like the judging seems weird this season. Yeah, because sometimes I'm not even sure I agree with them when she was in the bottom, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I feel like a win should mean something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it for a while. I was like, I wonder who they would have chosen if they had to pick. I don't know. I don't know who they would have done, but I have a feeling they would have sent Pandora and kept Jan. Personally, that's what I think they would have done. But
you also normal season, it would be them lip syncing against each other, and then production picks whatever song of whoever they want to go home. So you know they're gonna pick a song meant for Jan if they want to keep Jan, or they're gonna pick a song meant for Pandora if they want to pick Pandora.
Very true. Very, very true. Hello, Singad199. He's joining us. I want to just point this one more thing out before we move on, only because it comes into play in the next episode. Eureka and Ginger go outside during the Untucked of 7. I think this is when it happened. But Eureka talks about wanting to see more of Jan to Ginger. Kind of because Ginger and Eureka ended up voting for Pandora. And obviously Jan voted for Pandora. So outside, without Pandora around, Eureka was saying that she wants to keep Jan because she wants to see what else Jan has to offer. Now, I'm jumping a little ahead, but in episode 8, when they all come back after the voting, and it's revealed that Eureka voted for Pandora, she then says, "Oh, I voted for you because I just didn't know how to gauge Jan because she had the win, even though she was in the bottom twice. She had the win. I didn't know how to." So I felt like it was a little kind of shady of Eureka because she obviously wanted Jan to stay because she says to Ginger, I want to see more from her, but she didn't have, and it's so not like, I'm actually surprised that she didn't say what she really meant, because Eureka seems to be like the type that like doesn't care and be like,
right,
well, I wanted to see more, like, and I think she could have said that. You know, they do cut to Pandora, who's like, I call bullshit. Like, I think she knew that Eureka was up to no good. But I just, any thoughts on any of that?
It does seem weird that Eureka wasn't able to say that, you know, be honest in front of Pandora. But
yeah,
now that I think about it.
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of shady, so I wanted to point it out, you know, so I'm not the only shady one. All right, so my quote of the week, I have two written down. I have to decide now which one I'm going to go with. Okay, I'm going to go with, I'm going to give it to Miss Alexis Mateo because I laughed really hard after her lip sync. And she says, I got 2 free lipsticks, bitch.
Yes, that was funny. I like that.
My other option was Kylie when they were preparing for the challenge. And she's like, does everyone have cat suits? And she says, we're fighting crimes in different cities.
Yes.
Those are 2 great ones. I'll give the overall win, though, to Miss Alexis Mateo. We'll do fans of the week after we do episode 8, okay? Yeah. All right, so let's get into episode 8, which was Snatch Game of Love. So so this is what I have written down for this, is that even though she told Pandora she didn't know how to judge it, she still told Ginger something completely different. So we already discussed that. So Trinity K. Bonet is officially the front runner going into episode 8. Is this shocking to you?
I think it might have been shocking to me if you told me that in the first episode, because not because I do think Trinity is an amazing drag queen, and I was like really excited to see her on All Stars. I just think that she does get in her own way a lot too. Yeah. So you never know which Trinity is going to win out. Is it going to be awesome Trinity who's feeling confident in herself, or is it going to be Trinity who gets in her own way? And thankfully, Trinity, after her win early on in the season, has like made her feel confident enough that she's not holding back. So I think I definitely think she's going to be top 3. I think Ginger's gonna be top 3 as well. So
I think Kylie made a good point about Trinity in that when she does well, but when she does bad, she does bad.
Yeah, like we see in this episode, she just checked out. She didn't even try.
Completely. And you can tell that. And I thought there was a moment where I kind of, because of the way Ginger was talking to her, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I got a feeling maybe Ginger's going to get rid of Trinity, because she didn't seem thrilled that Trinity wasn't trying. And I get it. Like, I understand where Trinity's coming from, because comedy is not everybody's thing.
Especially improv.
Improv and impersonating, like that. I mean, and this is, now I consider myself great at improv, great at comedy. Impersonating to me scares the bejesus out of me, because it's a whole nother beast. I think I could do it just because I can rely on my comedy. So even if the impersonation may not be spot on and I may not look exact, whatever, I think I could probably pull it off. And I have that, but she doesn't even have that, to fall back on. Right. She was actually kind of relying more on the look. So
I think that's the thing that can, because there are so many things going on with Snatch Game where you have to be funny, you're doing improv, you're impersonating someone. Yeah. And I think the people who do well are the people who aren't too worried about being so close to the person they're impersonating, but just making sure they get a few mannerisms or catchphrases in, and then just be funny, Yeah.
Agreed. I think that's,
because I remember like Bob did Carol Channing, and it wasn't really that much like Carol Channing, but it was hilarious.
Yeah. No, I agree 1,000%. So, what we've been speaking of is that we were doing challenge was the Snatch Game of Love.
I was a little bit miffed because I was waiting for either the end of this episode or the untucked of this episode to give some sort of clue. And I saw people in the chat saying this, early on in our chat. that we don't have any sort of clue as to what the game within a game is. And it's getting annoying because if it doesn't live up to our expectations, if it's just like, you came back for a challenge, we're going to be like, what? That's what you do every season.
I mean, I will say this. If somebody is coming back into the competition, just for the record, I'm saying this now, if you don't win the challenge coming back, that's your last episode. Like, no one's going to pick whoever comes back to stay over Trinity, Ginger, Kylie, Raja. Who else is left? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Eureka. They're not going to pick one of those people. Like Serena, we're going to pick to keep Serena and let Raja go, Trinity go. No, girl. You're out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's going to be anticlimactic. Is basically what I'm saying.
That's why I was annoyed because hoping for, at this point, we're like halfway through the season, and I was hoping for some sort of for some sort of clue, but it didn't happen.
It should have been about halfway through.
Yeah.
And I think that person, it also gives that person a little bit more of an advantage because potentially there is maybe one or two people still in the competition that maybe have skated by, so they could potentially, maybe vote for one of those people over this returning person. So it just doesn't behoove the game for you to bring them back so late in the game. Like, it's all, everyone's established. Well, we already kind of talked about this, but Trinity expresses her nervousness in having to even just do the challenge. And also Pandora talks a little bit about the pressure of having to do it because she did do so well on season 2 doing Carol Channing. And she does. And I'll admit, one of the first times I talked to Pandora at Mickey's, getting to know her, we had a long, huge conversation about her Carol Channing performance and stuff.
It was so because she's a queen from an earlier season. And I can't even remember. Was she on 2 or 3? 2. So there you go. You're literally
very
the first,
and that was the first
you're the first Snatch game,
yeah.
And it was so iconic that it's one of the things that people kind of measure up for Snatch game performances. Are you going to hit that kind of level? And so now she's competing against herself, essentially.
Yeah, I agree. What is Chucky Chuck says Pandora is never going to top Carol. It is. It's just, it's hard to, I think it's why it's such a big deal when somebody does come back and wins it again, because it's like, then that they really know what they're doing, because to be able to top a great performance like that. So I always say coming back for All-Stars isn't always the best for their careers, because sometimes you can not live up to the hype.
Magenta says Pandora should have done Kathy Griffin. Yes.
She totally should have done Kathy Griffin.
I think that would have been good.
I think she would have done better at it.
She would have killed at that. I also think because you have to pick, and queens in the past have done this, where if you don't pick someone who you can really go crazy with, to me, Kim Cattrall is just like one note. It's like sexy kitten person, and there's only so many places you can go with that. Whereas Kathy Griffin is just like loud and wild and says wild things all the time. So you could say pretty much anything and still be within the area of your character.
Well, I also think, and I feel like Pandora, and maybe it was an option for her, but I do feel like, I think she picked Kim to be safe-ish. Because like she said, she's always nervous about what she's going to upset people, and I think if she did Kathy, she would kind of have to push the envelope and say some maybe racier or questionable things that could get her in trouble. I think Pandora was playing it too safe. I think she's been playing it safe the whole season. And I love Pandora to death, but you could just tell, I just felt like she was holding back. Like, I didn't feel like I saw the same person that I see out,
Even I feel like, Pandora's outfits, which I get, she's going with an older queen theme here, but Pandora is really into that like sci-fi fantasy kind of nerdy world too. And I don't see as much of that here, like as much of that playfulness.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cute idea. Chucky Chuck says she could have done mannequin poses in the middle of her answers. because she was in the
yeah, because she's in
that's actually a cute idea. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's get into, we'll talk about the runway, and we could talk more about specifics about their performances as we're doing the runway. Pop art was the category. Our guest judge was Tina Knowles Larson. What did you think of Rue's look? There's Rue's a smushed look. I'm sorry, I don't know why this is coming up smushed today.
I love Rue's look. You all know I'm loving some Rue legs. Plus, I love that it was like shimmery. I love a good outfit in motion.
Yeah, for sure. I said this to Raven. We had lunch the other day. I said, anytime you put her, well, I know she picks her dresses, but I said, anytime she's in a dress that shows her legs, I'm sold. 1,000. I don't even care what the dress looks like. I see those legs. I'm like, yep, okay, that's it. That's the Rue I love.
Hi, Digital Carnival. Right. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Yes, welcome. All right, first up on the runway, she did Phyllis Diller in the Snatch Game of Love, and this is Ginger's pop.
She was great in Snatch Game. I think she totally deserved the win. She was hilarious. And I love this pop art look. I think this is like one of her strongest looks. She does well when she's able to do that kind of like campy stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, I love that her arms were like sticking out like that. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
I did too. I actually kind of enjoyed that was kind of like part of it. And as soon as I heard she was doing Phyllis Diller, I was like, oh my God, that is so perfect. There's so many great, iconic people that have never been done to that I think, again, I feel like sometimes the younger generation, they just don't really know who they are. But like there's so many good things. If they would just sit and just watch some old TV on YouTube and stuff, like you could find some really wonderful stuff. And Phyllis Diller is hysterical. If you don't know who Phyllis Diller is, you should go on YouTube.
Has anyone done Lucille Ball? I can't. No.
Scratch that. In All Stars 1, Chanel does Lucille Ball.
Oh yeah.
When they did it was the laugh-in. They did like a laugh-in type thing. But yeah, no, Ginger killed it she deserved the win completely. Next up on the runway is Kylie Sonique Love, who did Dolly Parton.
I said this earlier, and I love this outfit on her. I love that she went with a gown. I thought, Dolly is such. We're all, tend to be huge fans of Dolly. So living up to her expectations, that's hard. You're picking somebody who's an icon. And I thought it was the right pick. And I think she did a great job.
Sorry, I just changed our screen. I'm just trying to figure out why these are coming up weird.
Oh.
So I was trying to change. I thought maybe if I changed the way that we present.
And I thought she had a lot of like funny one-liners with still, making them true to Dolly. So I thought she did her justice.
Sorry, I can't be that close to myself. I don't want to see that close. I thought like, well, we said this earlier too. I think Kylie just surprised everybody. I don't think it was like the best Dolly I've ever seen in my life, but she at least held her own. She at least had some really great jokes. You could tell that she had memorized some really good Dolly lines. And I love that she was playing her nails like Dolly does. There were just some really cute moments. I'm going to be honest, I did not like this runway. I thought her wig, now the picture I'm using is from her Instagram because I didn't have runway shots. The wig that she's wearing on the runway, I was mortified. I was like, what do you have on your head? Like, it just was not. Looked like she shook it out of a bag and put it on her head. I was mortified for her. I could not believe that nobody called her out on that wig. Oh, but I did not. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. Sorry, Kylie. All right, next up is Miss Eureka, and she did Divine in the Snatch Game of Love. Here is Eureka's runway. If you have forgotten, here it is.
Yeah, I loved her runway look, but I do agree. I think it was Michelle who said she wished the wig on her head matched the wig on the pictures.
Right.
I mean, it's just like a no-brainer. It's like you've got multiple pictures of yourself and then a different wig on your head. But I did like her Divine. I thought that was funny, and I think, you know, you have to not only pick someone who you think that you can make a lot of jokes with, but someone who maybe is close kind of to your personality. Like we talked about, Kylie was saying she was picking Dolly because she has like a Southern accent, and she is Southern too. So it made sense for her. There was some sort of connection there. Eureka's a little bit of a louder personality, more brash, like Divine. So I think, again, that like was something that fit her well. So if you're not someone who is maybe like, oh, I'm doing acting all day long, it's a little bit easier to kind of pick someone who's close to your personality.
Yeah. Lisa Mack agreed with me on Kylie. She wasn't in love with Kylie's runway either. Thank you. Good. I'm not alone on that. And I don't know. Chucky Chuck's asking, do you think Kylie's runway what kept her from winning? I don't necessarily think that. I still think Ginger was going to win. I thought overall Ginger just had a stronger performance in the Snatch Game. I do think Ginger's runway was better as well. All right, Pandora is next on the runway, and she did.
I love this look, this kind of like traditional pop art, like pow, bam, wham kind of look.
Yeah. It was very Charlie Hides. Charlie Hides always wears that kind of stuff. She actually posted a side-by-side picture of herself and Pandora. So I'm wondering if maybe Charlie made it for her. I don't know that she did. I'm completely speculating. I know just because she put them up together. I thought maybe she had a hand in it. But I thought it was a really cute look. I'm not a fan of those Chucky Chuck. I mean, I'm going to sound like Chucky Chuck now. Was not a fan of those little boots. Those are just like, that's like Drag 101. I'm just one of those fan of those. But I thought she looked great. I did think she looked great. And I thought her Kim was okay. I think she did kind of get thrown by Eureka. Not saying that Eureka did anything wrong.
But I think you can get thrown when somebody's like doing so well and you're like, how do I match up to this person, you know?
Sure, for sure. And then last on the runway, and thank you to Draglicious. I had to steal this from Draglicious because I could not find a picture of her runway look anywhere. Here is Trinity K. Bonet.
Love this. I love that she did a lot of like, I love that there's a message, and I love that she did a lot of like outlining. Like that to me says pop art when you're doing these like heavy outlines, look like a cartoon. I think Trinity's looks have just been overall very strong this season.
I think so too. And somebody in the chat also said too, I think that she's shown a lot of growth from her season to now. And then she did Whitney in the Snatch Game of Love, which she looked great. I mean, she looked like Whitney. It's just, you just have to be like, really the only thing she had to do was play with song titles. Like, and then Ru even kind of set her up to do that, and she still didn't.
I think it's hard to make Whitney funny. I really think it is. It's like she's had such a tragic life, and she was such a beloved icon that I think it's like you obviously don't want to make fun of her tragic life, and then she wasn't a comedian in any sort of way. So I think I think that it's just not an easy choice.
Only thing I always think of, and I don't know if you guys ever saw this, I think it was Mad TV. I loved Mad TV. Mad TV was like, speaking of like doing shit that like crossing those lines, Mad TV was it. So you can tell that I loved Mad TV. But the woman, and I can't remember her name right now, I think it's Nicole something. I don't remember her name, but she used to impersonate Whitney. And they did this skit, and the name of it was, like those TV commercials where you're selling a CD. And it was Whitney. They were selling this new album, and and the name of the album was Whitney Screws Up the Classics.
Ken says Deborah Wilson.
Deborah Wilson, yes. Thank you. Deborah Wilson, that's totally her. I don't know where I was getting Nicole from, but it's Google it, go on YouTube, watch, just type in Whitney Screws Up the Classics. You're going to pee yourself. It is she's basically cracked out and singing like smoking on the dock of the bay instead of, sitting on the dock of the bay. It's hysterical. And she like messes up words in the middle of songs and she starts hearing voices. And it's absolutely hysterical. So that's the only thing I kept thinking was if she did something like that. But Trinity just doesn't have those kind of comedy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you have to go beyond the character because they're like there are people who, like I said, Bob did Carol Channing, and his Carol Channing wasn't really Carol Channing, but it was hilarious, whatever it was,
For sure. And also, sorry, I skipped over her, Raja. Her runway here.
Raja, I did not. It's not that I don't like this outfit. Like, this is a nice outfit for a completely different challenge.
Yeah.
Whoever was it, Michelle, who said this isn't really pop art. It's not pop art. It's just like a picture of Raja on her back.
Right.
So I don't know if
you can tell. In my opinion, it was I have to pack a pop art look. I don't have a pop art look, so I'm going to put a cartoon picture of myself on this jacket. You know what I mean? Like it just looked very.
And then it looked like she like drew a cardboard thing to put on her stomach. I was like,
totally. I don't, and I'm not mad about that necessarily because at least, like, I'm glad that she didn't spend $5,000 on something. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that likes that she just genuinely tried to use what she had to make something work. I appreciate that more personally. And her LaToya Jackson.
Oh my gosh. I will just say.
So on the verge of being perfect.
Yeah. To me, she was second to Ginger.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was laughing as hard at the stuff she was doing that I was laughing at Ginger's. But I think the thing that really helped Raja was taking the notes from Ru. And that always helps out the queens. Whenever they hear a note from Ru and they run with it, they're able to make something really funny. And so I was just dying. I thought she was hilarious.
I agree 1,000%. I actually thought if she wore a headband, I think she missed a golden opportunity there because LaToya is always wearing some sort of.
I love the makeup though. I thought the eye makeup was
thought so
perfect.
Too. I was like sort of kind of creeped out by it. I just thought I love that she took the note from Ru and like everything was like, I love sushi, but I hate fish and I hate rice. Like which was the example that Ru gave her. And then she did that with every answer. And I just thought it was so brilliant. I think she would have, if Fortune actually picked a winner, which I thought was odd.
That was weird.
I think she should have won that. I thought it was odd that I don't know why they did that, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
Any speculation? Yeah.
I have no idea. I just have no idea.
I don't know if they just wanted Ginger to kind of be the clear winner. I don't know if that's what the idea of that was, but whatever. Kylie and Ginger were kind of the top. I mean, Kylie got good remarks. I mean, I thought Raja got good remarks, and so did Eureka. It was kind of obvious that Pandora and Trinity were going to be the bottom two, which they were. Ginger ended up getting another win. Our lip sync assassin this week was Miss Heidi in Closet.
I love it. I love seeing Heidi. She's always a blast.
It's so funny too because I had no idea. Sometimes I kind of get spoiled and I find out who they are beforehand, but I didn't know this week. And then when it opened, I was like, "Oh, shut up, girl!" And again, I think we talked about this earlier. I think if her wig reveal would have worked, I think she probably could have won. I think she was just down because of that.
Singgood says, who would you have done for Snatch Game? I famously said for a long time I would do Joan Rivers. Someone on Canada did Joan Rivers. I don't remember. Has anyone done Jennifer Coolidge? Because I think like
on Down Under, one of the queens did it this season.
Oh, I didn't finish watching.
And I thought she did. I didn't think she was horrible. I thought she did an okay job. But this is something that Lorraine Love thinks about on a daily basis. I do think like I understand where Pandora comes from too, like especially when I do consider myself a funny person and comedy is kind of my strength. So I have major anxiety because I'm not great at impersonations. So my initial reaction is to do Liza, just because I get Liza so much in drag. It's kind of a no-brainer. Like you were saying earlier, like do somebody that you actually look like that's just gonna benefit you. I just can't get her voice down. So that always is the thing that kind of detracts me from wanting to do Liza.
I think you could just make up a voice, right?
Totally. And that's kind of what I did when I had to submit and I had to do a character. I had to do Liza for my, I think it was season 5 tape. I had to do it. And I did. I kind of just made up my own kind of voice and I kind of just cackled a lot and stuff. I still thought it was funny. I just don't sound like Liza. But I know I love Match Game. It's actually one of my favorite shows. I don't watch a lot of game shows. I even watch like the newer ones now with Alec Baldwin, who I'm not even an Alec Baldwin fan, but I love the show. I love the idea of the show. I think it's a fun show. So I know how to play the game. Like I get that parts of it. So I feel like I would do okay regardless if I did Liza. I don't know who else. I have a couple other options. I don't want to say anything because I don't like giving, if I do it.
I was also thinking, you know what else I was thinking? I was thinking Zsa Zsa Gabor. I feel like someone did do her once, but not well.
I don't remember anyone.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't actually know. But I would do Zsa Zsa, or I would do the character of Endora on Bewitched. So she's
Endora.
Yeah, so she's like the played by Agnes Moorehead with the red hair.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is that you would have, that's the thing is like a lot of the people that I think of are characters. They're not the people.
Right.
So those are hard. I mean, you can do them because they've gotten away with allowing people to do it. Gigi did the robot, who's actually Maria the robot.
Yes.
She did it as a different name.
Right.
And then on also on Down Under, one of the girls did Catherine O'Hara, but she was doing Moira Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So she couldn't say Moira Rose. She just said Catherine O'Hara, but she was playing.
But she was playing her as the character. As
so I would love to do Moira Rose. I think that's an amazing. I think that would be like so much fun to do. But again, it's I feel like I have to have like 3 like really things that I have to commit to, because that when you get there, sometimes they tell you can't do certain ones.
Right.
So you have to go with Catherine O'Hara as Moira Rose and be ready for them to say, no, you can't do it for whatever reason. I do think Zsa Zsa Gabor is a good one.
I thought Juju did Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. She did do Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did Eartha Kitt, not Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Zsa Zsa's whole life is just wild. It's
totally.
like
someone could do Elizabeth Taylor's. No one's done Judy Garland. Manila did do Barbara Streisand, but I'm surprised not a lot of people do that. Celine, I know our girl Brooklyn famously did it badly. I'm surprised more people haven't done Cher,
I think it's got hard though because Chad is like the professional Cher impersonator. So, and she did such a good job on her season. So it's hard to live up to that, even though I don't know what you think about that, Mark.
Yeah, it would, but I also feel like Cher's kind of an easy one to imitate. Like she's so many like iconic things that you could just take and mimic, that I think it wouldn't necessarily matter that it doesn't look exactly like it. I mean, I get that's if you're thinking that Chad is the ultimate. Chucky Chuck says Mark is going to do Vivian Allenane from Days. I would love to do Pamela from Days of Our Lives. You don't watch Days of Our Lives. That's not funny to you, so I apologize. All right, so they did the lip sync song was Sugar Walls by Sheena Easton. I also feel like the song kind of gave Ginger an advantage as well, which we talk about a lot. I think the song just leaned more towards what Ginger does.
Right,
you know?
right.
But I was glad Heidi was there, and I thought she did a great job. All right. Let me see if there's any other little tidbits that need to be. There wasn't a ton of stuff. Not a lot of mirror moments and stuff. Well, we guess we can talk about this. Eureka did kind of bring up in the Untucked that she kind of stood up for her divine choice, which I said earlier. But she kind of stood up to Pandora because it sounded like Pandora was almost blaming Eureka for not doing well. And so she just kind of wanted Pandora to explain that. I don't necessarily think Pandora was trying to blame Eureka. But any thoughts on the fact that Eureka kind of brought that up and called attention to it?
I just feel like it's like you said, it felt like a misunderstanding. To me, yeah. Pandora didn't sound like she was trying to say, oh, Eureka, you messed me up. I took it more as like, oh, I was thrown.
Yeah.
And then Pandora was able to explain herself better in the way that I took it in initially, which is like, oh, you were doing a really good job. Your character's like really loud and out there. And then I personally allowed it to throw me, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it was good to clear up a misunderstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I was glad that she brought it up. And I think there is, I thought she was justified in bringing up in that, like, this is the character that I was doing. Like, I wasn't doing it to throw anybody off. I was doing it because that's who Divine is, Right. So I get what she was doing.
Right.
Magenta also suggests Cyndi Lauper as a Snatch Game choice.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, Boy George even would be a good one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you would do, but the only other thing that was really there was a couple of things that happened during Snatch or during the Untucked, but nothing major. But the only thing that kind of caught my eye was, and I think it kind of ironically, Raja's the one that brought it up. Now, Raja on her season, as you remember, was kind of the troublemaker, the shit stirrer. She was in a very different place as a human. She learned a lot from being on the show and, how to present herself and stuff, which has definitely given us a very different sense of who she is as a person. I, for one, have changed my opinion on her because of this All-Stars performance. I think it's benefited her.
I think she feels more confident. She came here saying that she feels comfortable in herself because I think and she knows the other queens now. I think that's another thing that's hard. It's like, you're essentially plucked from not fame to coming on this show, and you might be competing with some queens who maybe people might know better, and that the audience knows better, so that can be intimidating if you're like, oh, this queen everyone's heard of at the bars, and like now I'm competing with her, and that kind of stuff gets in your head. For sure.
I also think, I think the queens in this particular All-Stars, and whether it was intentional or not, I think everyone just really wanted to show who they truly were. Like, I feel like a lot of the queens that are on this season kind of were either misunderstood or not represented well enough in their opinion. Granted, they present who they present. So, obviously I don't fault production on that because you are who you are when the camera's rolling. So I think this time everybody was just so focused on presenting a true and authentic thing that all that cattiness and all the arguing and stuff has just kind of gotten pushed away. But I thought it was great that she brought it up because it is, I think everybody has been saying that one thing is like, this seems like I do think it's a better representation of the drag community. Because yes, we are catty and nasty and bitchy to each other, but not like that screaming and yelling nastiness that Raja was doing on her season, you know? You just don't see that. Is there a controversial character who should never be done?
Well, Trixie wanted to do Anne Frank. I would say that's a no.
Yeah. Yeah, she wanted to do Anne Frank. I guess it would depend how she did it. You know, again, I'm all about pushing the envelope. It would just depend how she was presenting it. I know people would probably not like it. I'm not Jewish, so obviously I don't have an issue with it. But I can understand the not wanting her to do it. Gosh, I don't know if there's anybody else. Someone pointed out,
because in some instances, the more like not talking about a person who's like someone like Anne Frank is like, it's like she dealt doing her would be controversial because of her life situation. But if you pick a actual controversial character, like Vivian did Donald Trump on the UK season 1, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Yeah. I think if you can pick some of these like more wild out there politicians that that have a lot of mannerisms, they can get a lot of laughs. Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else, but again, you know me, nothing's off limits for me. So it'd be very hard to upset me. All right. That was, I mean, overall, Jackie, just overall, as I guess Snatch Game of Love goes, happy with it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I also like that they're doing for All Stars a different type of Snatch Game. You know, I appreciate that the format is a little bit different.
Yeah. And I think it's still, I still think that the way that they're doing it is fine. Like it's still, you still have to impersonate the person. You still have to come up with a witty response to these questions and stuff like that. I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it. I was pleased with it. Overall,
and it's funny in a dating aspect, like
for sure.
Who did Eartha Kitt that one year?
It was Juju.
No, on All Stars it was.
Yeah.
No.
Valentina did it also.
I'll figure it out next week, you guys. But somebody did it for the Snatch Game of Love, and it was hilarious. And I can't remember who did it. Oh, it was Juju. It was Juju.
Yeah, Juju and Valentina both did Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, but Valentina's wasn't funny.
No. Yeah. She's like, she said, how would you keep me warm? I would go to the thermostat and turn it up to a sensible 75.
She was hilarious.
Absolutely brilliant.
Has anyone done Queen Elizabeth? Maybe on UK?
Queen just passed. Did she really?
Oh my God. Well, she was in her 90s.
Is that true? Somebody tell me if that's true. Is that really true, Chucky Chuck? Do I need to Google this? Is this happening on live stream? Somebody tell me.
I'm Googling it.
It was so funny. I just watched a thing on Prince William, and I just thought, oh, she's going to be around. I even thought she's going to be, Eartha Kitt passed. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like not seeing anything. I'm just seeing stuff where the Queen Elizabeth is like talking about Meghan Markle and Harry writing books.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, girl. Sorry, my chihuahua wanted to come say hello. Say hi, Winnie Poopies. Say hi, Winnie Poopies. Lick my lick monster. All right, Winston, you're going to get tangled in my head thing.
Queen Elizabeth is not dead, for those of you who are listening to our podcast.
Okay, it was Eartha Kitt. Sorry. No breaking news here. Sorry.
I don't want someone to come away from this podcast saying that.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, Mark said
that the Queen died.
Yeah. All right, so my quote of the week goes to Raja. You may have missed this. It was at the very beginning of the episode. She says to Trinity, This win was so deserving, and you did what you needed to be done, except put a pin in it. I almost peed myself when she said that about the pin. I was just like, yeah, should have put a pin in it.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie, our fans of the week.
Fans of the week. So Let It Be Written, who thinks that this is from a comment on the American Horror Story episode, thinks that Ginger should have probably won that week. Okay. And then Lisa Muniz with a little like vibrating heart picture. So you guys are the fans of the week. Congratulations.
Yay, congrats. Speaking of congrats, a huge congrats to Miss Carmen Farala, who won Drag Race España. Sorry if you're watching and you're not caught up, I probably should have yelled spoiler alert beforehand, but congratulations to Carmen. Very well deserving of the win on Drag Race España. And not just because I'm in love with Daniel, but whatever. Also, if you haven't yet watched, season 2 of Drag Race Holland started. I did watch the first episode. Jackie, are you watching?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
It was good. It was a good episode. We'll see how I feel. We'll see. So far, so good. I don't hate it. But it's on Wow Presents Plus if you haven't seen it yet. Now, I did see somebody in the chat earlier said, I don't know if it's true, but somebody says that the game within the game is revealed this next episode.
Thank God, because otherwise I'm just going to start throwing things. I can't take it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm very ready to get.
And they're just going to be like, the game within the game is like you're pairing with a queen who went home, and now you're in a group challenge.
Oh, maybe it'll be like a makeover type thing, and then
that would be fun
because they did that once before, I think, where they did a makeover and that person got to come back, or they paired them up and stuff like that. Anyway, so we'll see. All right. I guess if you had to predict, Jackie, who will go home next, who do you think it'll be?
I don't know who will go home next, but I want to predict top 3 instead, because I think it's going to be Ginger, Trinity, and Raja.
Okay.
That's what I think. I would have actually said at the beginning of the season, I would have probably mentally put Eureka in the top 3, but she hasn't won a challenge yet. So hopefully that'll change at some point,
I agree. I think if she doesn't win next week, she's probably gonna go. So we will see. All right, you guys, we will be back next Sunday, 3:00 to recap episode 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. Jackie, tell them where they can find you on the social medias.
At 123 Jackie V on all platforms.
Yes, you can. And you can find me on all social media at the Mark J. Freeman, or if I'm cross-dressing, at Lorayne Love, LORAYNE LOVE. I'm going to get my chihuahua off the dining room table now and give them their DINNER. I can't say it because they know the word. And thank you guys who joined us in the live. Chucky Chuck, of course, as always. Hello Kitty was there. Nouvelle Cos.
Ken, Caesar.
Ken, Singud, Miss Magenta, Lisa Mack. We had a lot of some newer names. Digital Carnival was in there. Thank you guys for always coming and being a part of this. So we love it. We love it. And please don't forget to like and share this too. It really does help with getting some new people. We still get random messages too, like, oh, I found you guys, because we used to be at Afterbuzz and stuff. So it's nice when people kind of rediscover us. So thank you all for joining. And Jackie, I will see you next week.